I just was instantly captured by the sensory aspects of the game, the way the tiles look, the way they feel, they're cool and smooth and heavy. There's nothing like the sound of Mahjong tiles as you mix or wash them.
中國嘅麻雀先啦嚇，就有144隻，美國嗰度嗰啲咧通常係打多，正常打多咧就8隻捉架。
American Mahjong comes in many different sizes, tons of colors and designs. I do have a special set that is a Wizard of Oz theme. The Glitterville set has cakes, cookies, and donuts for flowers.
When I come up with the design, I try to blend the contemporary illustration with the delicacies of the heritage craftsmanship.
初咧早幾年咧諗住咧就係會漸漸式微噶啦。
It's a dying art, and I wanted something special to be in my collection that we would have forever once the carvers are no longer around.
因為我哋已經成差唔多68、9歲啦，成70歲啦，仲點可以再做？
我做到隻手咧腫咗㗎啦嚇！如果做手術咧，一做手術即係退休。
一種即係我又唔想呢樣嘢流失，所以我係咁堅持落去嘅咋。
Mahjong is a game that is played with tiles that is similar to the game of rummy, where you choose random tiles and try to complete a winning hand. There are 3 suits that you play with. The dots, that are typically round and look like a dot, the cracks, which stands for Chinese characters, and the bams, which are usually green and stands for bamboo. There are also some other tiles that help you build your hand. They would be the winds, the flowers, and the dragons. In American Mahjong, we also use jokers, so I asked them specifically to make jokers for my Hong Kong set.
I really love the one dot or one circle because there is so much variation that's possible within this sphere of design.
The one bam, also known as the bird bam.
即係 Sparrow 嗰個一索，嗰個比較動感啲，我就自己挑呢隻。
Character from 1-1 because you can really find the calligraphy inside, the depth of the stroke.
發財，因為我哋係中國人，中國人個個都中意快嘅。
我自己係最中意9萬或者1萬。
Mahjong was first created in the area around Shanghai in the Yangtze River Delta in the mid to late 1800s. Really from the get-go, the game was marketed to an American public as an ancient royal game of the Chinese court. In the 1920s, boom, thousands and thousands of sets were made by hand. In that process, they also increasingly standardized the designs. But higher end sets, which were made by very, very skilled craftsmen, were carved with often just like a hair's breadth, really delicate scenes. But once they really start being made exclusively by machine and no longer by hand, that standardization process really takes off.
我叫做何秀薇，我1970年喺度學師，13歲做到而家。我哋呢度叫做金髮麻雀。我爸爸1962年帶住4個仔女2公婆，一家6口就喺度生活。我2個細佬佢又唔願做，即係將佢冇咗啦，失傳我又唔想，咁啊維係下學下啦。
我嘅名叫張順景，我而家嘅年齡咧因為73歲㗎啦，做咗60幾年㗎啦。我老豆又係挑麻雀嘅，咁我睇睇佢多，咁咪俾把刀你愛嚟玩咯。一玩下，咁咪做。我哋初學師嗰陣時，佢全部都係有板嘅，我哋跟住個板做嘅。學完之後咧，你就要空白㗎，自己起稿啦。呢個你係你3年幾裏面嘅成果啦。所以挑麻雀工具咧就唔會太多，一把刀，同埋嗰啲一個索刮，我哋叫索刮啦，我哋刮索紙嘅，一個木鑽我哋鑽銅紙，挑咗之後起咗貨，完成咗製品，咁跟住又上顏色咯，上完顏色， 等佢啲顏油乾咗之後咧，咁咪攞把鏟漆嘅刀，咪鏟咗面頭嗰陣。
我呢把挑刀8寸，用到而家2寸幾3寸，即就嚟冇啦。我諗都係我應該退休嘅時候啦。後生就一日可以挑到1副，20零30零還可以，40零50零開始退步。
而家我手挑麻雀10日8日咧一副，我而家賣咧手挑嘅就係8000蚊，又賣咗。而家咧就多咗外國客嚟幫襯買手挑，好多嘅美國客嚟買。
Newly produced hand-carved tiles are really rare and precious these days. Machine-made tiles often do a great job of mimicking some of the designs, but having that kind of signature detail or style that's really communicated only by hand is just inimitable.
The Hong Kong tiles, you can tell by touching and feeling that they are an individual work of art. And the tiles that are produced by the American companies are mass-made, and they look like they came out of a machine. They're very different from American Mahjong. They're chunky and big, and they're not elaborately decorated. You don't use the racks that we use in American Mahjong, and you just set them on the table. But I like that they're different and unique, and most people don't have them. I took my first lesson in August or September of 2025. I kept seeing things online about this game, but I knew nothing about it. So I began researching Mahjong, and I discovered that many tiles were originally made in Hong Kong. And so I decided to go on this goose chase of getting myself a set from Hong Kong, hand carved. Somehow, after all my digging, I found a lady on Instagram, and she visited this particular artist, the last female artisan in Hong Kong. After many messages, emails, back and forth, I was sending money to Hong Kong to buy these tiles.
I really hope that hand carving tiles continues to exist in an art form. I do think that, particularly thanks to a resurgence of interest in Mahjong that's happening globally right now, there is enough of a market that will continue to support artisans who want to continue this craft.
My favorite parts about playing are the really cute tiles, the setup of the game.
American Mahjong, it's not just about playing the game, it's about all the aesthetics that go along with it. A Mahjong tablescape typically involves your mat, your racks, coasters, dice dishes. There's a whole world out there of people wanting to get their tablescape perfected. And so they go to each other in the group and say, I have this set of tiles, what mat and racks would you suggest? Or I bought these racks today, what tiles would go with that?
What's happening right now is quite new in that some American Mahjong companies that are based, the designers are based in the United States, but they're generally being made in China. They might be playing with references to American Mahjong culture and slang that another person who plays a different kind of Mahjong wouldn't be familiar with.
I'm not a Mahjong purist. I started this thing just 6-8 months ago. So I love all the new designs, but I can understand people who have been playing for 50 years, or maybe their grandmother played. It's probably a little odd to see things that aren't the traditional faces on the tiles.
We are reaching a point where it's a fair question to ask if a game is played with unrecognizable equipment. Is it actually the same game still, or has it changed to the point of becoming something else? I would be sad if American Mahjong really became fully divorced from a global context of Mahjong, because I think that ability to connect across difference is quite powerful and something we really need.
其實市面好多嗰啲五花八門嗰啲圖案咧，都好好嘅，對於推廣呢個麻雀工藝。我哋嗰隻咧就係保留啲傳統
I try to blend the contemporary art, okay, with my father's traditional way of handcrafting.
我係由13歲已經開始挑麻雀，由70年代我就接管咗我父親嘅工廠，非常之興旺。咁啊，至到2000年以後，咁我哋嘅個行業就都係好淡咯嗰陣時。咁啊，我哋2009年就結束咗間廠。咁啊，2017年阿 Karen 要求我出翻嚟，佢想做嗰啲生命同埋傳承文化嘅傳統嘅責任。
Mahjong is really very important for my family. I witnessed the up and down, the disappearing of such kind of traditional game among people during the 2000s. So I built up Karen Aruba Arts because I keep thinking, can I do something related to the art or craft that can be kept for the long term? I think for Karen Aruba Arts, we want to focus on some unique handcrafting work. So I try to use the illustration, laser engraved, but then my father still handcrafting on some traditional Mahjong patterns. When I come up with the design, I try to keep some traditional cultural elements. For example, I will try to study the background, the history, to understand why people design in this way. One of the mission of Karen Aruba Arts is to keep on training people, but because my father closed the factory, they even lost all the Mahjong tools. I realized that if we want to teach people handcrafting, they do not have enough tools. Luckily, my husband's brother, he's also one of the wood craftsmen. He helped me to recreate few sets. And then we found a factory in Malaysia. He can recreate the scissors for us. So right now we have around 8 to 5 full set of Mahjong making tools. I admit that it's quite difficult to pass the professional skills to the next generation because they really need to devote a lot of time in practicing. But I do see that my role helped to build up the gap between the next generation and my father, the traditional elderly's craftsmanship. If we keep on doing something, I still trust that we can keep on moving on passing such kind of skills.
最近多咗好多年青人嚟睇下我哋點樣手挑嗰啲麻雀，而且日嚟呢度有上堂，咁都係好有希望呢個傳承落去。我哋做得幾多就幾多咯，因為